This lecture is going to cover how to name a hydrate. Now, if you are not comfortable with ionic naming yet, then this is not something you are ready for. You need to be ready to name ionically, because I'm not going to review that in this lecture. I'm only going to review the hydrate part, but you have to successfully be able to name ionic compounds for this. All right, so a hydrate. What is a hydrate? If you hear hydrate, you might be thinking hydrogen, but you also might be thinking water. Like if someone needs to hydrate or if they're dehydrated, it has to do with the amount of water they have or the amount of water that they need. So a hydrate is when water is incorporated into the structure of an ionic compound. Now, what that actually looks like, don't really worry, but just know that you could have an ionic compound where water is incorporated into the structure of that compound physically. So the steps to naming hydrates. So the first thing is you have to name the ionic compound or write out the ionic compound formula, whichever way you're given. If you're given the formula, you're going to write the name. If you're given the name, you're going to write the formula. Then we're going to apply prefixes. Those are those prefixes that were on the front of your ion packet, but also the prefixes that you used when you named things covalently. Same prefixes are going to apply here with your hydrates. And then we're going to use the term hydrate to indicate how many waters we have. So now we're on to examples. So BaSO3. So step one was to name our ionic compound. So BaSO3 is barium sulfite. Okay, so that's this part right here. Then what we're going to do is we are going to use our prefixes to indicate how many hydrates we have. So this right here is our hydrate, the H2O. How many hydrates do we have? One. Prefix for one is mono. So we're going to write mono, and then we just write hydrate. Sorry, that overlapped. Hydrate, hydrate here. Okay? Really, that's all it is. So let's move on to the next one. So name our ionic compound first. This is, of course, this is copper. We're going to draw a line there. And what copper is it? Well, remember that your fluorine's -1. We multiplied that by 3, which means that this copper must be +3. So we're going to write copper 3. Copper 3 fluoride. Your anion always ends in an IDE. And then we go to our hydrates right here. We have 3 waters, so that is trihydrate. Alright, easy enough, huh? Alright, next one. Magnesium nitrate dihydrate. So this is going the opposite way. So magnesium is +2, nitrate is NO3-. So that's going to be MgNO3-2. Okay, if you're lost on that, we got to go back and review the ionics, or the ionic naming. Alright, di means I have 2 hydrates, 2H2O. Okay, one more example here. I think you've probably got it. Na, or sodium chloride. Remember, sodium is Na+, chloride is Cl-, so that's going to stay true here, NaCl. No need for any additional subscripts there. Pentahydrate. Penta means 5, hydrate, H2O. Really, that is all that it is, okay? So there is only one sheet of practice problems on this, and I'm telling you, you've got to make sure that you've got your ionic naming under control, because the hydrate part, not really too difficult. All right, if you have questions, let me know. Good luck.